The following is a presentation of Muddy River News.
When someone says, "How are you?" do you answer that question honestly? Because it's small talk. How do you feel about small talk? Because I really don't like small talk.
No,
Sometimes you have to have. Sometimes you have to have it.
Yes.
Even if I'm on the subway in Chicago, you know, hey, how about those Cubs? I don't even do that.
Yeah,
It's
like
just-
platitudes. I'm not a huge fan, but I do it all the time because I'm like at work,
out of
anywhere I am, I'm like, oh, how's it going?
Okay. Yeah.
I expect people to say,
Fine. Good. Yeah. Move.
it's going great, or living the dream, or
Really busy,
some
or-
other
yeah.
something or
if you're having a
another.
bad day and someone says, "Hey, how are you?" just say, "Good, I'm good," and then smile and walk
No,
away.
I totally go shitty.
That's what I say.
I'm shitty. Thanks. That's not a good
Sometimes I'm
day.
like, things have been better, but I'll be
Yeah.
fine. Or sometimes I'm like, yeah, good. Depends on who it is, because if I don't want to sit and explain myself to somebody, if it's a stranger, I'm not gonna unleash my
Well,
terrible day.
if
on
anybody
them.
asks me if I'm, "How are you?" and I go, "So what's going on?" that means like I don't want to talk about it.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Or
I mean, I'll say fine, or I'll say busy, or whatever, and yeah.
Like my girlfriend texted me the other night and was like, "How are things?" I like that because I'm like, well, and then I wrote an entire book of how things were going because we haven't talked in a while. So I was
and
like,
she was like, "I can't believe I asked this."
That's
question."
fair.
no. So it
she
was
totally
more
not.
of like a communication type thing, not in passing. So I guess it depends on the situation,
Yeah.
the environment, who's asking. But yeah, I like people asking. It's just I don't always like to be truthful. If I came up to somebody and they didn't ask me something like, "How are you?" I don't know. It's platitudes all the way around. It's almost like an opening. It's not really.
It's tiresome and what's the word when someone
Tedious.
tedious? Yeah, but like when someone opens up with a line that's kind of
Disingenuous?
is it
Cliche.
It's not. Is it trope? No.
Yeah. No. That's yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the old trope of like, "Oh,
Yeah.
how are you? How are things? How you been?"
What do you want somebody to say when they come to you?
Just anything but that. Just like start off by like, "Hey, good to see you, man. I haven't seen you in I don't know anything
What's going
but,
on?
like,
Does that count? What's going on, man?
What's going on? I mean, I don't know what's going on. All kinds of stuff's going on. I don't know. What do you mean? Be more specific.
Yeah, don't take it so literally. Just say it's fine and move into the next thing. And then you start that by saying, "You look great." Then you flip the narrative.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna have
Because
I'm
people
gonna have
don't
to be
do
nicer.
it. People don't do it intentionally to make you uncomfortable or to piss you off. They just do it because that's our conditioning.
It's just how you
Yeah,
lead.
yeah. It is
That's
just
how
what
you
it is.
open.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
It's the open.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah.
But the best is when you haven't seen somebody in a long time and you see them and it's just like all smiles and like, "Dude."
Yeah.
And it's like
Yeah.
like the big embrace.
Yeah.
And you look at him and you're like, "Hey,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're here."
Yeah.
The hey, a genuine hug. Hey, oh my God, yeah, what's
Yeah.
up? Yeah, there's
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah,
difference.
but you don't want that of your like associate that you see like
every day. No.
when you're, let's say you're walking through like a basketball game and you see everybody you don't want that interaction with every single person.
No.
So when you're passing, you say, "Oh, how's it going? Oh, hey, how are you? Oh,"
That's why I
you don't
like walk
expect an
around.
answer. Yeah,
I walk around.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well,
You know what I mean?
I'll relax.
I think
little
there's
bit,
a different. I think there's a different expectation for every scenario, and it's okay that you feel that way. But now that I know, I will never say. No, that's a lie. I'm probably going to say it
Don't
because
say
I
never.
freaking have
You're,
it.
you're gonna say it because it's
Sup.
Sup, Holmes?
it's customary.
Yeah,
It's like-
that's it. Yeah.
But it's like, "What's
Yeah.
going on? What's up? What's going down?" It's
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh,
How's it hanging?
I'm dizzy.
Not like that, but that's what people say.
How's it hanging?
How's it hanging?
There's so many funny things you can say
Yeah.
about that Bob's thinking of, and I'm thinking.
I know. Well, I had to throw it out there.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Yeah. And on that note, okay, so I mentioned basketball. Let's talk about that for just a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
And it doesn't have to be a long, drawn out thing, but on Facebook, Bob, aka Shitstick, has
Shitstick?
stirred the pot.
Ouch.
Right? I'm just saying that because that's what I was called back when I worked at one of my jobs. I was
Okay.
Yeah, but he
Because you're the
posted-
stick that stirs the shit. Is that what it
100%.
was?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
that's better.
Yes.
All right.
So he posted a story on social media, and it was a father of a basketball player, a female basketball player, right, for the Blue Devils.
Yes.
And basically the father is saying that he just wants the same opportunity for his daughter that his son had. And that is in regards to where they play, I guess, I don't want to say resources, but yeah, resources they have at their disposal, meaning Palmers, cheerleaders, the devil, the mascot. He wants the same experience for her as his son had, which, let me go ahead and say, I think it's not far-fetched for him to want that. I guess my question would be, what does the team want? Because it kind of should be up to the girls, right? Because when we brought this up, you said that the reason they like to play at the high school gym is because it's more intimate, right?
Yes.
And they may not have as large a following.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. What if they had all of the accoutrement, we'll say the Palmers and the mascot and the fire and the hoopla and the scoreboard and do you think that it would get bigger?
Well, yeah, because the parents who show up to watch their cheerleader Palmer daughters and also show up to watch their band kids, a lot of those parents come to the game to watch their own kids do their thing.
Right.
Those parents aren't coming to the girls' games because they don't do that.
Yeah.
That's a valid point. It's a valid point to ask the school to put forth the same effort and enthusiasm for both squads. The girls' team, obviously, very few programs in the state of Illinois, boys or girls, have been successful as the Blue Devils over the last gazillion years. A lot of those have caught up. I mean, this is going to be seen as blasphemy, but the Quincy Notre Dame Raiders girls basketball team is more decorated than the Quincy High boys basketball team. That's not up for debate. They've just won all the state titles. And,
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, again, I'm going to get
good for
hate
them.
mail for that, but
That's okay.
that's the way it is.
Yeah.
But if you've got a nice crowd for a girls' game, that high school gym is packed. It's the same one the volleyball team plays in, I believe. So it's a good atmosphere. And if you've got a Tuesday night game where the Western Big Six, the team's coming in from Sterling, Illinois down here, and they're not going to bring a lot of fans. And if you were to go to Blue Devil Gym and not have band and not have cheerleaders and not have, radio and all that stuff, there's just not going to be as many people there. Now, the girls are going to play a home game at Blue Devil Gym next week, the 31st, when they play the defending state champion Quincy Notre Dame Raiders.
With Palmers and the
I
mascot
don't know that yet,
Okay.
and I guess that will be interesting to see if that does happen. I do know the game is going to be on the radio. WGM is going to carry the game on the radio, which is good.
It would be really cool to see the band, the Palmers. It would be
The
cool
devil,
to see,
the
all of
flaming
that.
pitchfork.
Let's just do like a, what did they call it? Just like a litmus test and see if it brings in more people. Because what do they have to lose, I guess would be my question.
Right. No.
Is there anything?
No.
Okay.
It's just you've got a lot of just good old boy people who just think this is sacred ground or whatever, and it's like it's a gym.
It's a damn gym.
I love
and
you guys.
if you go
It's a
anywhere
gym.
else, like any of the
It's a great
rural
ceremony.
areas, yeah.
It's a great atmosphere when they're good and playing. But I was in that gym a lot of times when the team wasn't very good and it wasn't all it was cut out to be. So, you've just got a lot of guys and gals who are stuck back in the 80s or whatever.
And the rural places around here, they all have one gym.
Well,
girls,
yeah.
boys, it's all the same.
Well, yeah. Well, also in Missouri, they play on the same night. Boys and girls, varsity and girls games play on Tuesdays and Fridays generally throughout most of the season. So
people just don't leave. Or
yeah,
they leave,
they're there for both.
Yeah,
and so that doesn't happen here as much because of the separation.
What game is first?
The girls' game. So Palmyra, Monroe City, Mark Twain. I mean, yeah, that's Hannibal. I mean, that's.
By the way, we're not talking. We're talking about a local team. We know and love these players, both boys and girls. This isn't like Megan Rapinoe from the U.S. Women's soccer team, yelling about that she should make the same amount of money as boys. We're talking about local kids
Yeah.
that want to receive the same level of pageantry as the boys team. And by the way, like the Blue Devil girls, what's the date of the Blue Devils playing the Raiders? Is that coming up?
It's next Tuesday night when the girls play.
Yeah, see, that's something that I want to take my kids to, and every once in a while, at least start having some of the same level of pageantry, because this is what they're talking about.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you're going to make a big deal for the boys, but the girls like, or like second thought. Yeah, that's not cool. I mean, generally speaking, it's not cool, but in reality, is if you are going to try to achieve the same thing and duplicate it, this is what I would normally say, generally speaking, is a lot of times, and I'm not talking about this particular case, because I want the Blue Devil family to be happy. Just personally,
I always want both schools to succeed in all sports. I mean, I'm not one of these people. There's a lot of QND people who hate QHS and QHS who hate QND. You can say there's not, but absolutely. Oh, you're being sarcastic.
No. I'm just saying. I feel like that is so. It's like
it's out there. It's absolutely out there.
I think
they have too much time on their hands.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Support the entire community.
It's not silly.
Yeah, just support everybody.
I'll tell you from.
And if your teams are playing against each other, root for your school, great. But when your team's not playing, root for them to do well, which they don't in many cases. And it's childish and it's stupid. So, again, I root for everybody. Want them all to do well. I mean, obviously, I want Quincy High to win a lot of times because my kids went to Quincy High, wife's Quincy High. If they play each other, great. But I don't care. At the end, it's like, great, just have fun.
I'm kind of out of the loop with what you said. I can't challenge that, because I'm stuck in the 90s and I don't know what it's like now. But when I was in school in the middle 90s, the general consensus was, like people say, I'll just come out and say it. I don't think Q&D people had a lot of animosity against the public schools. I don't think they did. I think it was reversed, and I kind of felt that feel. So I would go to a lot of like Blue Devil games, like basketball games and like soccer games and stuff like that. And being a Raider and going through that whole process, we felt, this is back in the 90s. I'm not saying it's like this now. I have no idea.
It's different when you're a kid.
I know, but like we felt it was just a weird situation in which I think the general consensus was back in the 90s, where there was more like vitriol towards the private school than there was towards the public school.
Public kind of looked at private as spoiled brats.
Which is funny because all the wealthy kids most of the wealthy kids go to the public schools.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna drop names here.
No.
The richest families in Quincy go to the public schools. They don't go to the private schools.
There are people from all walks of life at both schools, but I'm saying
the 5 richest families in Quincy don't go to the private schools.
Yeah, I'm not talking about. Oh, I hope you're not talking about kids. So kids, yes, there's always going to be a healthy competition between. Well, I mean, you definitely got your feelings hurt, but kids, there is a sense of competition when it's public versus private. Sure. That's understandable because you are. You're competitors in sports, in school. I mean, you are competitors. I'm talking about adults who went to Notre Dame who don't like to see Quincy Public School kids succeed. Right?
And vice versa.
And vice versa.
Yeah, that's
they don't like to see
ridiculous.
Them succeed?
Or they don't want to see, they don't really care. What he was saying is when they go to a competition or a tournament or something, if the other school didn't make it that far, they don't want to see senior high or Notre Dame win. They want to see, they're not rooting for them, basically.
Okay.
Did I capture that?
No, absolutely. Okay. And that's the truth.
I will tell you this, though.
And that's a shame.
The general consensus in the private schools is if Q&D and QHS are competing against each other, the Q&D, like the private school families, they want to see the private school win because that's where they're sending their kids. Yeah. But I can tell you, as like a person who's coached like a lot of public school kids, I mean, I've coached soccer and wrestling, and when I see my kids who go to public schools, like not my biologicals, but the kids I've coached, when they go there, I'm so happy.
Sure.
I mean, I will say this, and we've said this before about the great Saeed Ali, who says that the public schools and the private schools should get together, have the beautiful rivalry, and like go Quincy, because when we compete against each other, then when we go off into the rest of the state, we can excel and we can take the trials and tribulations against competing against each other. You know, like iron sharpens iron. So I think it'll be interesting to kind of circle back to what we were talking about these like Blue Devils, like the girl Blue Devil basketball team. They should at least probably a couple, 2 or 3 times a year to start playing the big gym.
That's what I'm thinking.
When they're playing Q&D, make a big deal about it.
Yeah.
On senior night,
yeah,
make a big deal about it.
It's not like they're wearing high heels on the gym floor or something.
Look at the schedule.
And walking backwards.
Yeah.
No.
And like being concerned about their makeup.
You know.
And like mascara that doesn't run.
Mascara on the floor. No, I'm saying I don't understand why it's a deal.
At least maybe at the anyway.
It shouldn't be a conversation. It should be whatever the team wants, you know, collectively, and the parents. And I think if my kiddo were playing basketball for the Blue Devils, I would want to see all that. I would want to go to like the pageantry. I would want her to experience that. Or maybe
they should develop their own thing too. How about that? I mean, okay, go ahead and copy what the boys have been doing. It's not very original. Or you could say the devil's advocate to that, Bob, would be, well, they're Blue Devils too. Why equality?
Yeah.
Equality, but as long as we're not getting into equity. Oh goodness. But you know, the equality, if the boys do it this way, then the girls should do it that way too. Or maybe the girls could get really creative and say, yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to kind of step it up a notch and do something else.
I think at least they should have the same, and then they can do with it what they will, but they should at least have the opportunity to have it in that gym. And if they want to expand, you know, on the ceremony type stuff, then they can do that. But you first have to have, and I don't know what comes first, chicken or the egg, but you have to be able to support those expenses, right? Whatever it is. You have to also think about the Palmer's time, the band time, because they're very, very busy. So I understand all of that. But I think it's definitely worth a conversation, and I'm not sure. It has happened before, right? You mentioned somebody did have the girls playing in that gym.
Yeah. There was a coach who insisted on that, and it happened, and they played for a while, and they didn't have good teams, and it was a big empty place to go watch a basketball game. And but then when they've had good teams there, they've also played some games and done okay. But for the most part, they have been in the gym that is directly at Quincy High, not the one at Baldwin, which is just down the hill. So, but again, I think the community should be behind both schools, all sports. Wish them for the best. Don't be mad if the girls, you know, God forbid the girls suggest they might want to play there. Now, from what I understand, the school district said the girls and the coaches were fine at the gym and because they've got their own little thing built. But you know, I think if they were to look and explore and try to do some more with, you know, again, video boards and more cheerleaders and bands and stuff. You know, you could take
male cheerleaders.
If well, they have those.
All male cheerleaders.
Oh, well, I don't know about that. I mean, if they want to do it, great. But you could also take the band and the cheerleaders and split them up and say, okay, you guys are going to do this time. You know, this half will do this game, this half will do that game, and then you'll have kids go, I do get to the boys game. It's like, no, it'd be a mess. But
it's not. It doesn't have to be. I don't think it has to be, but I think it's definitely worth a conversation, and I hope that I hope it can be done, you know, successfully.
And if any listeners are confused by anything that I'm saying go Blue Devils, boys and girls both. Go
Raiders, both.
Well, as a Raider, I say go Blue Devils.
Yes. And as a Blue Devil, I say go
unless
Raiders.
You're playing us, then go Raiders.
Yeah,
exactly. Right. That's how it should be.
I think that's pretty general.
That's fair.
I think the outliers are the ones who are like, I hope anyway. But I like to have a general, like positive, optimistic.
I gotta tell you,
your glass is always half full. Isn't
Sometimes, although I will tell you this, Brittany and I kind of got into it. We were talking about cart skanks, and it's one of my biggest pet peeves because I think there are people who can't take their cart back to the corral, and there are people who won't. And there is a very big difference, and there have been studies, and I don't know if these studies are real or not, but I get tagged in these things all the time, and I love it. Everybody knows me as like the cart skank, like
police.
Yes, I definitely am. But there was a lady on there kind of saying, you know, be careful before you judge. And I was like, oh, I'm judging, honey. I'm judging. Don't get me wrong. But she said her husband had an invisible disability. And, you know, sometimes he can't return his cart. And I'm thinking, okay, well, then she got more into it. And she was like, no, he's not walking. He's in a rascal. I'm like, then it's not invisible. He has a disability that.
It's pretty visible.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, let's not create excuses for lazy a-holes. Seriously. Unless you are disabled, elderly, have screaming kids, you can put your cart back.
Whoa, why is the screaming kid exception there?
I've had a screaming baby in my cart, and
Bob,
you can't leave it in the
just
car.
making excuses.
Wow.
No.
He's making the rules up as you
Hey,
go.
listen, I've had a screaming baby, and if you put your baby into the cart, so you have two options.
Maybe I have a screaming bladder and I got to get to a bathroom.
Right.
Listen, you better hold that shit, because if I catch
How's
you,
that a different?
It is.
How's that different than
It
the
is.
screaming
the
kid?
screaming baby creates anxiety, and if you can't,
My
you can't leave
screaming
your baby,
bladder doesn't create
you can't
anxiety?
Leave your baby in the car,
Or
if
my
you park
bowels?
Too far
Am I
away.
gonna
Don't
poop?
argue with me. I'm gonna win. They're screaming babies, especially multiple.
I'm siding with you on this one.
No.
Yeah.
If you have, all right. How many times have you guys gone to the store with multiple screaming babies?
I've done that
Multiple. Okay. Have you
once. One kid. No, I never would. I would never take. Who would take more than one kid to the store? That's just dumb.
Well, sometimes you don't have a choice.
Oh, there's always a choice.
Is there? They're just gonna leave them in. You're just gonna leave them at home,
Ashley?
chilling.
You schedule it so the significant other is at home.
There's not always that case.
Oh my God!
Ashley,
yes, there
Just saying.
is.
real quick, parenting 101. Before you get out of the
Don't take the
car,
kids to the store. Parenting 101.
Well, that's one way to do it. But let's say you have to, okay? What you do is, this is all about,
Let's do
I really
this.
like the way you segued into cart skank mode.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that.
Hey.
I will say this real quick.
You need this.
Yeah, she does. But
Hey.
also,
It's about to get heavy.
when you're a parent, you got 3 kids. I've got 3 kids.
I have 3 kids.
You got 3 kids.
You got 2.
2 is almost 3.
That we know of.
Two is
What you do is,
Two is
you look
good.
at your kids, and you look at them, and they're still in their car seats. And you look back, you turn the car off, you open the door, then you slam the door extra hard. Then you open up their door, you stick your head and say, "Hey, do you know what we're gonna go do? We're here because Mom said we'd get eggs and bread and lots of box wine for her. What we're
that
gonna do
works.
is we're getting 3 things. Do you want to stay in here in the cold, or do you want to go inside and cooperate
I'm
and
not
get something
talking
from Mom?"
about somebody who understands logic. I'm talking about a baby.
And then what you do, you go in there and you don't let them ask.
These
for
idiots
anything.
don't know
Don't
shit.
let them ask
Okay.
for anything.
Don't let them ask for.
Yeah.
That no, that doesn't work.
I want
Okay.
the chocolate bar.
Now we're getting real.
Real quick.
Now we're getting
So
real.
then, as far as cart skank, in intuition,
There are.
I will tell you this.
I have a 19-year-old who still wants to go to the store and get stuff, and it's like, leave them at home. Our bill will be $35 cheaper.
That's different.
100%.
See, I'm talking about a screaming baby that you.
Scott Goff,
Okay.
screaming baby.
You know how long it takes. You know how long it takes to put a cart into a corral or take it back.
I'm talking about okay,
Screaming
so
baby.
they're in a pumpkin seat, okay, and they're screaming, and you have your groceries, so you put your groceries in your car, right? Now you have a cart and a screaming baby.
Yeah.
You putting your baby in your car and taking the cart back? Are you taking the baby with you and the cart back?
No, put the baby in the car.
Okay.
Let the baby
Let's
scream.
say you're parked 17 stalls away from the
that's-
cart return.
17
That's some
stalls.
god-awful planning
Oh
on
my
your part.
gosh!
I don't know.
You didn't say 17 stalls away.
17
I'm just saying.
That's almost a quarter mile.
Listen, parents, I give you a pass if you leave your cart, and I will return it for you. If you're disabled,
But if I have to go to the
elderly,
bathroom, no, there's no
Bob's
still pass
screwed.
on that.
No, he's just gonna have to. You're just gonna have to.
Ashley's like,
Just
Bob,
be
you
yourself.
made
Your
bad
pants.
choices.
You-
Just
yeah.
poop your pants. That's what
You
you're telling
should
me.
well, see, now
I'm getting older. That's
Okay.
more. That's
Well,
that's tough now.
They have things designed for
I'm
that.
not going to wear a damn diaper.
Well,
I'm just
maybe you
saying,
should. If you can't
if I
return
go
your cart.
through the line, I don't have to go. I get to the car. I suddenly have to go. It's like, oh, I got to go. The cart might not make it all the way back, and I might have to go. I mean, and if you're at Hy-Vee, you just go down the hill. Or if you're County Market, you can kind of run back in.
If I see you leave your cart, I'm gonna bring that cart behind your car, so you have to get out, and I'm hoping you poop your pants.
I'm totally
Yeah.
if I ever see your vehicle at a store, I'm gonna surround it with carts
I'm
for the hell of it.
I'm surprised that hasn't happened already.
Bob,
to be fair.
Ashley is not going to do that. She's into physical violence. She will punch you or I in the neck.
No.
Okay, she will punch me in the stomach, so then I go ahead and just soil myself.
Yeah.
That's
So
what
say-
she's going to do.
And then I'll take pictures and I'll say he was about to be a cart skank.
Do you guys know?
I saved the world.
Do you guys know who Charlie Martin is? The guy who is like the super talented artist in town that engraves headstones and things like that. He just recently posted something about the cart.
The psychology of the cart skank.
Yes,
basically.
and the meme that he posted was something along the lines of, if you do not take your cart back to its rightful place,
You are a lunatic.
It proves that you are incapable of self-governing. And I want to change the rhetoric on this. What it proves,
You can't. It's a meme. It's stuck forever.
it doesn't prove that you're incapable of self-governing. It shows that you are not going to self-govern. It's not about being capable.
Is weather an
You just don't.
excuse?
I don't know. That's a good one because snow and carts are a nightmare. But if you don't do it, then the poor cart guy has to come out and collect them all from shitty.
He's paid.
I know, but not enough. Let's not fight about that.
$15 an hour is not enough.
You think the cart
not
returners
15
are
yet.
getting 15?
It's
No.
gonna be 15 any minute now.
Well, then eggs are going to be 12. So no.
That's fine.
But everything's relative. No, he's not getting paid enough to have to gather Bob's cart because Bob pooped himself and can't.
96.3% of the time, I will take my cart back.
How
Really?
much?
You're
Yeah.
admitting you don't always return your cart?
Yeah.
Frankie, to you?
Because sometimes there's an extenuating circumstance, like
Ashley,
my bladder.
I wouldn't be caught dead not taking my cart back.
Thank you.
Yo, whatever.
Listen, no, I'm weird about the
Here
cart.
I am being honest,
Okay.
bearing my soul.
I love that you're honest. I hate that you're a cart skank. Even 7% of the time.
Okay,
I thought I knew
no,
better than that.
3.7% of the
Ooh.
time. Listen,
Okay.
I said 96.3. So 3.7% of the time.
I'm not a mather, but I do return my
No,
cart.
no, that means he gets an A.
I got an A.
Oh.
And
He
Nani
gets
has an A.
It's just not A plus.
Yeah. Yeah, if it was like half, then yeah, I'd be an ass. But I don't
Yeah.
do that. I'm just like, I'll take it back.
I always look at people who leave their cart as the same people who just like toss their garbage out their window because they
You're not
just
supposed to do
don't
that?
give a shit.
You're not supposed to do that?
No.
Ooh,
Bob,
I don't.
I
no,
would
do that.
Yeah.
Is that equate?
I think it does because you just
What if it's a
don't
beer
give
can and
shit.
you want some homeless guy to have that nickel? Is that okay?
Yeah, Bob, no. You gotta you actually gotta find that guy and hand it to him.
What do you guys do?
Oh, I wouldn't do that.
So as a former smoker, and what I mean by former smoker, I don't mean like someone who smokes cigarettes on a regular basis, but just somebody who likes smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, I think we've touched on this topic
in
before.
the social realm where you're out somewhere and you don't smoke, but you're like, yeah, can I bum one? Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I did that like back in the 80s. So, what do you think about when you're driving and somebody in front of you throws a cigarette out
Yeah.
of the car when you're right behind them?
It's
What do you think
littering.
about that?
I'm guilty of that sometimes, but it's
What, still?
well when I
Oh,
well,
Bob-
not necessarily
Bob-
driving.
Ashley's got nothing.
Listen.
Everything
listen.
she said has gone out the
No,
window.
not necessarily driving because I smoke when I drink. So, like when we go out here,
Except
you've
now,
you've
we
seen
don't have
me,
smoking in the building.
but you've seen me. Like I'll go out front,
Yes.
and what I'm very
You're
hesitant.
very good about putting them out and then putting them away. You do not just throw them out
Yes.
there, and
It's like in
that's
the-
very
I'm saying in the
commendable.
car.
But you're just saying, talking about down the road, you just go boing.
No, not generally. No,
You don't just flick them. You'll keep them.
I have like
keep
a little
'em?
thing. It
Oh,
stinks.
good.
But
Okay.
yeah,
So see, she's good. Yeah.
Respectable.
yeah. I mean, I'm not saying always. Sometimes I am guilty.
Now, when I have my occasional, would never smoke. I smoked a cigar in the car once, and the car stunk for like a year, and so I've never done that again. So I don't have to worry about that.
But
So
I know it's like
I don't smoke
I
cigarettes
know
that
I'm
often.
not saying it's different, but when you have people who have like their fast food bag and they just open their door and set it outside, it's a little different.
But you can put that in your cart, right?
People have done that, and I have like seriously.
I totally do that. If I get a fast food bag, I will put it in the cart and just push the cart.
You have said that
See?
before. and
Yes.
Every time you say it, I'm like, oh my
my
God.
gosh.
That I do. That I do.
So you're not capable of self-governing.
Sure, I am.
Oh, okay. Well, I think it's just like
it's not capable of self-governing. It just shows that some people just don't
give a shit.
Just don't self-govern.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are periods of time where they don't, which is why we need this huge, invasive, big brother federal government.
Isn't that funny?
Because it's proof
Yeah.
people can't do the right thing.
You know, so there's right and there's right by like my standards, which is like just do everything that I say and you'll be right. Okay? It's not I mean, isn't there a difference between like breaking the law, but then also just being a good person. And I do think returning
absolutely.
your cart is part of being a good
Yes.
person. Not littering on a general basis is being a good person because you give a shit about your surroundings. You care about everyone else's, how they're living life around you. Mm-hmm. I don't want somebody to have to get out, move the cart so they can park where there's an empty stall, you know? Also, I don't want that cart to run and hit somebody's car. I don't know. It's just like, it's almost like common courtesy.
What about people who pull into handicap spaces and they're definitely not handicapped? Now they've got the handicap.
I do not do that. That's off. That's awful.
But they've got the handicap sticker.
Oh.
They're legal. It's hanging on their mirror. And
Well, I think that goes back to what that lady said, that some disabilities are invisible. And I'm thinking, well, if they're that invisible, you're not disabled.
No, granted.
If I can't tell that you're struggling, do you need a parking spot? That's going to bring a whole bunch of hate.
Now, what about
so much
that?
hate? I'm screwed.
I'm like,
okay,
what are
I
you
apologize.
saying?
But if
I can't see it.
No, but if you don't struggle to walk, and I see some lady who does struggle to walk have to park like 3 spots down because you who don't struggle has taken this spot under the guise of a disability, there's something wrong there.
Now, I have parked in the spot's for pregnant lady thing at Target. I parked there.
Yeah, I have too.
Yeah, I've parked there.
Yeah.
Even
Seriously?
when I wasn't pregnant. Yeah. I did
This
that.
was
I
at
did that
Shopko
once.
when they did, but when Shopko did it, it was like 18 miles of vets and
Am I a rule follower
pregnant-
or something?
You are.
But I would do that like when
that.
I would do that when we had little kids, not just when I'm by myself.
I did it when I had,
pregnant.
like,
The pregnant
babies.
thing. I'm like, okay, Ellen, you were pregnant once. Let's run the kid. If we had to take the kids into Shopko or Target or whatever, let's do that.
Well, first of all, what's worse, having kids inside the womb or outside the womb? Clearly, outside the womb, that's harder.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, right.
Okay. What about those parking spots that have the if you are a fireman or the hero parking?
Yeah.
Like military.
I'm a hero.
God, no.
I'm a hero.
No.
I'm a hero, guys.
You don't park in those
Every day. No, I'm kidding. I've never. Never. But so, no, I would never.
What about in the spaces where it's like, okay, this is for the phone? Okay, if you were going to bring your groceries out.
Oh, you're picking them up.
Yeah. Sure, I'm picking them up. I'm going to park here. I'm going to go pick them up.
No, because then I don't park there because I'm nervous somebody's going to bring some shit out and think it's mine, and then I'm going to have
there's
like
nobody-
double.
there's
Just take it and go.
Yeah.
There's got to be something in there you want.
No.
Man, I'm such a rule follower.
I know.
I don't break any of these rules.
And let's
I
go
just
back to
don't.
the pregnant in the pregnancy versus when they're outside. Let me go ahead and just give you a juxtaposition here real quick. It is so weird, the difference in how you're treated when you're pregnant versus as soon as you have that child. You can be 9 months pregnant. People are holding doors and the minute you have that kid and it starts crying, people are like, ugh, shut that kid up. Like they totally. The minute you have that kid, it's like all your
You sound
All that goodwill.
all that goodness
For the last
all
9
all
months.
that privilege,
Yeah.
gone.
You know what? That
And now
reminds me
everybody
of-
hates you.
It reminds me of the
It's
30
true.
to 40-year-old trope of the idea where one particular party says, "Oh yeah, you care about babies in the womb, but as soon as they're out of the womb, you just want them to die as soon as possible. You don't care about kids because
Not
you don't pay for
100%
their
wong.
lunch." But I mean,
I know what you're talking about. It's not the same thing,
right?
but it's not 100% wrong.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah,
it's not.
It's unfortunate, but
yeah, but you know what? I can't
people
tell
love
you who
pregnant
came,
ladies. They really hate little kids.
I can't tell you who came up with this because it's just outing a person that I can't do that.
All right.
They're
Initials?
too close to me. Can't do,
dang it.
Can't do initials
All right,
because that'll give it away. But
All
we
right.
all know this person, and he said so. He probably has no valid opinion. He goes. Oh yeah, I'm pro-life, but like no, but for like incest, rape, and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
it's health of the mother, like abortion. But so I'm pro-life still though. Like I think that most abortions are blah 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 elective. It's for convenience. But here's how I fix it. Here's how I make it right. Super big Catholic, goes to church, very good person, okay? He goes, here's how I fix it. Like, I had kids. You want to kill kids in womb, out of the womb, whatever. Parents should be able to kill their kids. Period. That's how you solve it. That's how you fix it. It's like and that's like, oh my gosh, you cannot say that. But going back to the idea of like, oh, you care so much about the pregnant woman, open up the door. But as soon as she's having problems and can't get the door open because she's holding this screaming kid, all of a sudden that woman has no privilege anymore.
Yeah.
What the hell? What one of your friends wants to kill their kids?
Yeah, that's a little. But But to
He's
prove
making the
point,
joke. He's like,
proving the
listen,
point.
you want to kill your kid?
God, I hope it's a yeah.
Inside, outside the womb. We own our kids.
Well,
So-
I will say,
My laptop died.
I have kind of
We
wanted
lost
to
our
kill.
logo, but that's okay.
No, that's all right.
That's all right.
I've kind of wanted to kill my kids from time to time. That's just a parenting thing. I don't care if you said you don't, you're lying. But
Well, that's why God made babies so cute.
So you don't kill them?
Is so you don't kill them.
what about 12-year-olds?
12-year-olds?
Yeah.
12-year-olds aren't cute. 12-year-olds are not cute.
No, my kid was really, really good. But sometimes
You can
I
do
just wanna,
whatever you want
beat
to
her.
your kid until they turn 18, and then they're literally like owned by the state at that point.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Whatever you do with your kids, you do you. But if you want to be a good person, you better return that damn cart.
Your kid can go to prison. Your kid can do whatever. But if your kid takes that cart back to the rack, they're going to be okay.
And let me tell you how I know I have good kids. Not only does she return, my oldest returns carts.
You just said no.
Sometimes I do. That's normal. But she does return carts, and she will even help others return their carts. So that's how I know she's got a huge heart, and she'll be okay in the world. After,
will.
as long as she survives
Mother.
the next few years.
As long as she survives her mother.
100%. Yeah, because we're the same person. But
On that note, everybody have a lovely weekend and a lovely week, and we will see you next week.
peace out.
Sounds good.
Our jam. This is our jam. Let's go, cause this is our jam. This is our jam.
Muddy River News. Our home, our news.